Okay. All righty. Yeah.
It's that live, huh?
Yes.
All right, girl. Let me start. Hold on. Let me make sure. Yes, there you go. Okay. All right. Now I'm working it out. I'm working. Look at God, baby. All
Yes.
right. There we go. Okay. Let me go ahead and share it. All right. All right. Okay. What tonight is about? Tonight is about a good awareness for autism. As we all know, April is Autism Awareness Month, and their color for autism is blue. And if you don't know what autism is, let me dive in a little bit and tell you. But before we begin this show, I have my guest speaker here, Miss Tashambia Moody, Mrs. to you all, Tashambia Moody. She's a wife, a mother, and also an inspirationalist, and also an autism advocate because she not only knows what it's like to be amongst and to make the changes and sacrifices, but she is also a mother to an autism child. And that child happens to be my great nephew, y'all. So, of course, know more about autism than the mother and the parents that actually live in the home with them. And this episode is also the conclusion of season 7. So if you're tuning in with me, this is the conclusion and bonus interview for season 7 of Bringing Him Out. And also, Mrs. Tashambia Moody will tell us how she was able to adjust with the autism and adjust with the resources that she had to use, and also how she had to bring God out in the process and in the midst of when she could not, when she thought she could make it, when she thought it was a hard task, when she thought the trials would get even worse. So before we begin, I'm going to go ahead and open this show with a prayer, because y'all know how I like to do a prayer first before we begin. So wherever you are, and if you are tuning in, please bow your heads and we're going to get this thing started. As a faith-driven entrepreneur with a faith-based business and platforms, I come to you tonight with a humble heart and peace of mind to lift everyone here that tunes in with us before you up in the good faith in all they do. I pray that our messages reach most or many, because we know we're not going to reach all. Most importantly, let our genuine responses, sincerity, and raw truths inspire every listener or everyone that watches and tunes in with us. Make sure they're inspired, and those that may tune in or replay, I pray that the feedback and responses from tonight's show bring us the most unexpected blessings from all the right people and things with an unexpected purpose behind it. In Jesus' name, we thank you, and I am grateful to have Mrs. Moody here with me tonight. Amen.
Amen.
So, before we begin, I'm going to go ahead and let Mrs. Moody introduce herself and give y'all a little background of who she is and how she got started with Autism Lives With Us. Go ahead, girl.
Hi, my name is Tashambia Stanley Moody, and I am an autism mom. I started this group to reach out to families of how to adjust in living with autism. Um, I want my story to reach out. I want to inspire just all across the world to know that we are not alone and we have to stick together. In 2016, our lives it's drifted, and it was God's purpose. At first, I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. It was hard because we had to gradually figure out what we need to do with our son. My husband and I, we was doing research. We was trying to see what is going on. What's going on? It started with his speech, and just the developmental delays he had. Everything just started over, and we was like, "What's going on?" And we traveled, tried to see what was, traveled and everything, and there it was autism. And I cried, I cried, I cried. But my husband was the stronger one. He always said it's gonna be okay. But silently he cried, but he used all that into a muscle for the family.
Mm.
He said, whatever we're gonna do, we're gonna pay for. We gonna the school gonna make sure everything right. I'm gonna work hard. And that's what he did. So, as us moms, we the sensitive ones. We got to cry. We got to cry about everything. But I knew that it was God's purpose. Um, First it was he wasn't saying any words. Everything he used to cry about because he couldn't say, it couldn't come out.
Right.
So, and we was like, I'm like, oh my God. And it lasted for like 2 years. It was hard, and we couldn't ride anybody on the back seat of the car because he didn't like to be closed in and
Mm.
everything. So it was an experience. It's an experience. But I would like to say, but we will get through. We've gotten through it because now he's saying more than 20 words. He putting his words into a sentence. He's saying,
Aw.
Mama, he's saying, Mama, every time he said, Mama, I got it. Mama, I could do it. And I fear now because the older he gets, the words change. And you know
Right.
how moms, we worry about bullies, we worried about people take advantage of adults and children with intellectual disabilities. So that's
Right.
what I fear. So me and my husband together, our voice is louder.
Aw.
It's,
That
it's
is
louder.
true.
It's louder.
That is true. It takes a strong parent and a strong man to come together and realize, like, hey, God blessed us for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are quick to abort, before those kind of situations occur because of the fear and
Mm-hmm.
the patience that they think they cannot handle it. And
Mm-hmm.
some people are quick to put their children up for adoption because it's something they
Right.
cannot handle.
Right.
But to actually stand by your child and to actually search for resources to help better him and have the patience to get through and depend on something higher than you spiritually,
Mm-hmm.
girl, listen, that's a lot. That's a lot. And that's powerful. And it's a blessing that you are able to do it because some people give up and
Mm-hmm.
they give up before it's too soon. They give up too soon
Too
before
soon. Right.
they actually
Mhm.
find out about it and they actually give themselves a chance to
Right.
test themselves and be like, hey, I can do this.
Right.
But they quick to give up.
Yeah, yeah. And it's more than what you read in the social media on Google. It's beyond that. You have to actually go through it to see, okay, this is it. Because in the social media world, they think
Right.
that, oh, they can't do anything. But till you
Right.
actually deal with it and you have to deal with it, they could do it. We just have to stick together. We have to stick together on everything.
Right. So autism, if y'all don't know what it means, autism is a spectrum disorder. It's currently known as Autism Spectrum Disorder as an ASD. The symptoms and characteristics of autism can present themselves in a wide variety of combinations, from mild to severe.
Mm-hmm.
Although autism is defined by a certain set of behaviors in three primary diagnostic categories: communication problems, social deficiencies, and
Mm-hmm.
evidence of self stimulatory behaviors. children and adults can exhibit any combination of the behaviors in any degree of severity. Two
Mhm.
children, both with the same diagnosis, can act very differently for one another and have varying skills. So, with us knowing the correct meaning of what is autism, and us, doing research and us having not to experience it, or us having not known about it, or we're not aware of it, but since you live it day to day and from birth, how what does autism really mean to you? I want to know your definition, because the Google is fine, research is fine, but Google is not the one that's living it every day. I
No.
want to know, what does autism mean to you now that you know what you know, and you going through what you went through, and now that you are more resourceful for what you have. So what does it mean to you now, having to experience it for yourself?
It's beyond, like you said, the research. Actually, it's a neuro thing. It's
Mm,
a neuro thing.
okay.
And it's affect a lot of ability for them to interact, social, but it's not a learning disability at all.
Okay. Now see, that's
It's not.
different,
Mm-mm.
because now I'm glad you said that, because most of the research that you see, and even the research that I've seen,
Mhm.
they had the main thing in there was learning, about them
Right.
learning, and then it had about them social, being
Mhm.
social. And now, see, I understand that people can be different. I understand that children can be different.
Mhm.
But when you read stuff like that, it takes you into the general aspect of it, not in the day-to-day living of it, from a
Right.
personal
Right.
perspective that's
Right.
really going
Right.
through it.
Mhm.
So I'm glad you said that, because it had a lot of that in there about learning. And it was like, and I know and it had more to where they independency is
Mhm.
rather dependent upon, for them to depend on people rather than for them to actually learn how to do it themselves. But
Mhm.
your our baby is different, because he
Mhm.
actually wants to do it himself. And see,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
miscommunication information
Yes.
that you, because it had in Google, like, they have a problem trying to get
Mhm.
to that level of
Yeah.
independency.
Mhm.
But here we have someone that wanted, he
Wants it.
after it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He wants it. And it all started with us. It all started with us. We have to let him be independent because he has to grow up. He has to
Right,
grow up. So if we keep him where he can't do anything and keep him dependent, he's gonna use that as a step. And
right,
I want him to do everything what a normal child could do. Play
right.
sports, go to college. I want him to do everything, and he will do it. I spoke life into
Every
our child every day, and God is showing me through my baby that he is going to do it. He's doing it now, independently. He's doing it,
amen.
and it
So
starts with us. It has to be with us. We have to put in our minds that he could do it, and we keep holding him where he can't do it, then he's not gonna be able to be independent.
right, the coddling.
You're
Yeah.
right. Because that's
Okay.
what society want us to do. Society
Right.
want us to look at it on the perspective where, oh, he can't do anything. But I said society, no, my child, our child would do everything what a normal child could do. But he just do it better. He just do it better in his own way.
Okay.
Mhm.
So my question, another question I have for you is, some people think that just because it has not happens to them or they don't know anything about it, they think that sometimes autism can come from birth defects. They think that autism can be developed from the mom, from
Mhm.
when she was carrying the child, and what things she could have done negatively to affect the child while she was carrying it. Can you please clear from a
Mhm.
day-to-day perspective what is the cause to autism now that you're experiencing it and you know what you know and the resources that you have and you're using? Is there a cause for autism?
No, because his dad and I did a genetic test, and both of
Okay.
us was negative of any type of delays or developmental delays. What I say is that God knew who could handle it. He knew.
Come
He knew who could handle it. He knew that we could be strong parents, and he knew that this was our purpose to do
on.
it. And we
Mm.
mastered it. He's rocking that blue, honey. He's mastering it. My baby is who he's doing it. And I love it. I love it. I love all the support and what he's doing. He's making us proud. And
Oh,
actually, he's he's into sports now. He's gonna start playing baseball.
what?
Yes. Yes.
So what about LeBron? What about, you know, orange ball? Why the white ball? What's wrong with the orange
I
ball?
told you, I told you he's different.
Okay.
He's gonna stand out. He's gonna do it better.
Okay. All right now. And to confirm her answer, and her answer was pure based on experience and pure based on what she has learned throughout this process, because I'm reading the article right now that I just pulled up and it said there is no known cause for autism.
Mm-mm. It's not a
It's
manual.
cause.
No
Mm-mm.
manual. No manual. Mm-mm. We have to adjust. You have to have a voice for your child. All of us parents do, but mine just have to be a little bit more stronger.
And okay, so my question, another question that I have for you, um, when did you start seeing the signs? Just in case, because you know we have new moms out here. We have people having children every day. I mean, we have them having them young. We have them
Mhm.
having them older. But you know, when they reach something like a defect or a SIDS or whatever, even a common cold, they
Mhm.
can signs before the cold actually take place or anything takes place. And sometimes we catch things a little too late. So
Right.
what signs were presented to you that made you say, hey, nah, my baby need, nah, he need, nah, I need to go have my baby. Mm-mm.
Mhm.
Something right.
We noticed in his speech. Um, we noticed he started to learn how to walk late. He was over 18 months. That was one. Not able to feed himself. There was another one. And not able to be trained, going to the restroom. Because he got
Okay.
out like pull-ups in like five. I think it was four going on five. We got to pull up, and that was the developmental delays that were are really are common, but we have to catch it. You have to
Right.
catch it.
Right. And you know what? I'm glad you said speech first, because my son has a speech problem. And he
Mhm.
was, girl, it was like he was 2, 3. And you know, you can send them to school at
Mhm.
3. They call it a pre-3. And then you can
Mhm.
send them to school. It's also daycare, but they just say pre-3. And you
Mhm.
know, they have the pre-4s. And then when you hit 5, you know, it's actually Head Start
Mhm.
or pre-start. But I caught him at 3, and it was a
Mhm.
stutter. It was speech. And
Yeah.
girl, I said, he was either too excited, or he was sad and couldn't get it out, or he was just really
Mhm.
frustrated sometimes that he couldn't get something right. And I said, So that's when I knew he had a speech impairment. And to
Right.
this day, he's 12 now. And let me tell you, he still have a speech problem, but I had to do more research. And I went just like you, and I said, I want him for everything. I want to know everything. I want him
Mhm.
tested. I want
Mhm.
to know, because the earlier you know, the
Mhm.
more preventative you can go
Right.
ahead and start. The more you know, and
Mhm.
the earlier you catch it, the more you can start doing early. Because some
Mhm.
people don't know, and young people that's having kids now, they catch it late,
They catch
and
it late. Mhm.
right, and it's not an embarrassment. It's not a default. It's
Mhm.
not a fault on them. It's just that sometimes we just need to pay more attention to our children,
Right. Right.
and
Mhm.
and if we don't, who else will?
Who else
Because
will? Mhm.
the teacher can think it's normal. The teacher
Mhm.
can think like, hey, he's just not focused today, or maybe
Mhm.
he's having a bad day, or maybe he just, But as a parent, it is a-okay to have
Right.
that kind of concern so early.
Right. Actually, they thought Derek had a hearing impairment because when he was going to, because when he first started going to therapy, um, they used to try to do like little activities, and he wasn't responding the way a normal
Mm.
child would. So we had to go to Oxford to see an audiologist, and they had to put him in a sound booth and to verify each sound. And there was a experience. And then like something ain't right. This ain't. Mm-mm.
Right.
Let's go further down the road. And
Right.
God
Most
led us to um God led us to the children of Mississippi, and hit it on the nail right there. And she
Aw.
told me, she said, I see. She said he's autistic. And I cried, I cried, I cried, I cried. I say
Why?
I cried because it was something new. I said, I don't
Okay.
know, I don't know what to do. And then God let me know in my mind that I made you strong.
Right.
I made you
So you
strong.
so you cried for you, not for him.
Right. Yeah.
And
Actually, I thought I had to teach the world about my son. Now my
mm,
son is teaching the world.
okay, I like that. And
Mhm,
that's normal as a parent,
mhm,
because parenting and being a mother or a father does not come with instructions. We don't get a manual. And we know
mhm.
sometimes things happen, but at the end of the day, children are blessings.
Right.
And you know, I can't, girl, I would have cried out of fear too for myself, because I
Right.
don't have a manual to go by.
Right. Right.
So I didn't. So I can understand you for crying for you, but I'm glad you didn't cry for him, because he didn't. Clearly, he didn't need it. He's
He didn't need it all. He didn't need it. He didn't need it. He didn't need it. But the thing every day, but what really gets to me is that he understand now. Like
mm-hmm.
I was praying one night. I was praying, and I'm getting teary eyed right now. He
Come
said,
on, baby, because I got this big smile because I'm overjoyed, because
yes.
I know
He said, and I was praying. He came in the room and he say, "Mama."
And girl, it's okay, baby. God works in mysterious ways. We don't
He,
never know.
he said, "Mama, thank you."
Mm,
Yeah.
they see. They see. And guess what? You started out teaching him and helping him, and now the roles have switched, and now he helping you and teaching you.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't
Mm-hmm.
that funny? Because
That's
most
something.
people come
He
in and
does everything. He does everything independent. I used to
See?
have to walk him to school in the since the COVID has started. We us parents can't go into the building. And he told me, he said, Mama, I got it.
Uh-huh.
He said,
Yep.
Mama, I got it. He opened that door, unlocked that seatbelt, and he said, and I said, well, okay. And that's what that fear come in at. Because
Right.
he's growing now. And
Right.
then I'm oh, he don't need that anymore. Their sisters anymore. He walk on, he does that here at home. I say, Mama can put something in the microwave for you. Mama, I got it.
Oh.
Mhm.
But
Go,
see that
yeah.
isn't, we always want the best for our children. We do.
Mhm.
And we want them to have that type of independency no matter what, no matter if they have a special kind of effect on them, like autism, or even if they're just, displaying none of this, or if even if they have, it does not matter. We
It
want
doesn't
them
matter.
to have it, but when they get it, it's us that can't take it, that they got like, man, I remember when you, come
uh,
on, it's like we so, as a mom or
I'm
as any parent that cares, we're
mm-hmm.
gonna be so attached, and it's hard for us to let go.
It
So as
is.
a parent, are you having difficulties right now letting go and letting him grasp his independency?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Am too, girl. I'm like, cause my son, he plays basketball. He's in the band, and he loves the trumpet. And I'm just like, and now he call himself going out mowing lawn, and he wants to,
Yeah.
make money and find his
Mhm,
own summer jobs. I'm like, hey, you 12.
mhm,
Slow
mhm,
down.
mhm.
Slow it down, please.
And
So,
time has progress. It's just going. It's just moving too fast for me. Moving too fast for me. He'll be fourth grade next year. Actually, he'll be 9 next month on the 3rd.
oh, come on now.
Mm-hmm. And April 2nd is Autism World Day.
It
Nation.
definitely is. So this is a pre-record before the big drop. The big drop is April 2nd. So everybody, please wear blue that day,
Wear
and
blue.
please tune in to the full and edited premiere of this live interview bonus special. And another question for you is: a lot of us don't know when to catch things, or when when we fully grasp things.
Mhm.
At what point did you become acceptance to living with autism, and autism lives with us? At what point did you accept that, like the process that you had to go through to accept, like, hey, it is what it is, God has blessed us, we are different, we accept it, and listen, it does not matter because God has chosen us for this battle. So clearly we can handle it. At what point brought you to the acceptance of it?
I accepted it um when we first heard it. I accepted it then. I didn't quite not really understand it, but I had to all the reading, all the research. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna let God just take over because He's in control. He did
Right.
its purpose. It's a purpose for this. And actually, we are where I'm creating a children book, God's purpose.
Come on through now. Come
God's
on.
purpose is to let
Okay.
each and every last one of families, parent, guardians that we could do it. We could do it. It's a lot. It's hard work, but
Mhm.
we are parents that we can't give up on our children.
That's true.
We
That's
can't.
true. So, what would you like? What advice would you give a non autistic family on how to better understand what it's like in the autistic field, what advice can you give another family?
Oh, what advice is that I would like to give a non-autistic family is that um it has no age on it.
There you go. It
And
don't.
you can't just say when a child act out, because you can't just say, oh, he have a behavior problem,
Right.
or she's not disciplining him. So you looking on the outside in a lot, and you just can't. A lot of people are so judgmental now,
Yes, that's
and
true.
that's why I always say I have to be his voice.
Right.
Even and then it used to make me angry. I used to get angry about it, but now I use all that to be an advocate, because
Right.
until you live with it, then you can understand what the next family or next single mom, single dad, parent, guardian go through. Because it has autism has 3 stages: mild, moderate, and severe.
Mm,
So each stage, each stage is different. My
right.
story might be different from the next. The next story might differ. It all depends on that child and how we adjust to it.
Right. And I want to, before I go into the next group of questions, these questions are random from the audience that I picked.
Okay.
And, but before I go into that, I want to give you guys a little information about autism. Um, and what I want you to know is that autism is one of the most mysterious and confusing disorders facing
Mhm.
families and clinicians today. And unfortunately, the prevalence is growing at an alarming rate. And we know that autism is about 4.5 times more likely to affect boys than
Mhm.
girls.
That's why
And
the color is blue.
it's found in all racial, ethnic, and social groups.
Mhm.
We also know that there is no single cause for autism, although the best available science points to important genetic components. So, that's just a little background of autism, and just a heads up to like give you a little information about there is no cure, and it can affect any and everybody. It has
Mhm.
no racial slurs in it. It has no ethnicity background to it. All races are affected by it,
Mhm.
not just us African Americans.
Right.
So my question, the first question from the audience is, let me see, this is from Carolina. No, she's out of North Carolina. Her name is Sarah. And she wants to know, do vaccines cause autism?
No. No.
Okay. Sandra from Charlotte, North Carolina wants to know, can cannabis help autism?
Um, no, but now they have now trying to find cannabis for anxiety and insomnia and a lot of ADHD, because all that is included in autism. Derek, our son, he actually have insomnia. He's
Mm.
so he's not able to get the cannabis until he's turned 18 years old.
So like so they're wait a minute now. Nephew, I'm playing. But they're really linking cannabis with autism because cannabis is linked to a lot of disorders and treatments and everything. So,
Mhm.
and I know insomnia is one. It's also linked to a lot of diseases as well, like for symptomatic wise. So
Right.
cannabis. is linking to autism now.
Yeah.
Girl,
Pharmaceutical, they want us to try other medicines, like
okay,
what's
yeah,
on now for sleep and anxiety, because he take medication for anxiety and insomnia.
okay,
So, we have to, so for pharmaceutical rights, they have to try this in order to get that. So
okay,
right now, since he's 8, he's not old enough to even have the cannabis. But they also are in adults. Adults, they are actually now getting the cannabis, but it treats like anxieties, to help them calm down. Depending on the oh, what is it, mild, moderate, or severe?
okay,
So yeah,
okay. Well,
yeah,
and listen, I have no problem with cannabis,
me
and
either.
if I was what you call it, a candidate for it,
Yeah,
I would gladly experience it because I don't want to just take people words for things. Dealing,
right,
you know,
right.
especially health wise. And
Mm-hmm.
everybody cares about their health. Everybody cares about their
Right,
mental and everything. So you don't just want to take people's words nowadays. Not
right,
even a
right.
research.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Research is,
Right.
like I don't believe that, but everybody run to Google, so
Mhm.
I don't even want to take Google. I don't want to take the research. I don't want to take your word. That
Mhm.
would be something the person I think could actually benefit from trying, because everybody functions different. Everybody is different. And
Everybody's different.
right. And you
Mhm.
never know how it can affect this person versus
Mhm.
that person. So that's hey, if I was a candidate, I would definitely want to know how it would affect
Me
me.
too. Me too. Me too. Me too.
Yes, girl. Jason out of San Diego, California, he wants to know, what does the spectrum mean? The word spectrum mean. When you say autism spectrum, what does spectrum mean?
Um, to me, it just, well, to be honest, it's just a name they give it.
Okay.
It's just a
Okay.
name they give it. It's actually another name for it's a neuro. It's a neuro thing.
Okay.
A lot of people think it's a learning disability, but it's not.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
Okay.
their brains, it keeps going. It
Okay.
doesn't stop. It's not like ours. It just keep going, going and going and going until
Oh,
they get tired.
okay. So my follow up question, since the keep going thing, my follow up question to that is: do some autism autistic is ASD like ACD ACHD. I know I'm not, girl, I'm not getting these acronyms right, but
It's
ADHD.
ASD.
Okay, and ADHD, can it also be linked to autism because of the, neural and the keeping moving part of it? Because I know my son has, but he's got the learning part, the speech, but
Yeah.
and I was wondering, could ADHD be, connected with his speech problem? But they said, nah, he's just overactive.
Yeah.
So,
It,
okay,
it's connect with it. It has a part in it as well. It does.
now that part I didn't know. Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
Listen, I'm learning. Shoot,
I learned it's beyond Google.
yes,
Mhm.
yes. That's why girl, yes, okay. My next question comes from, let's see, Ryan out of Jacksonville, Florida. And he wants to know, what are some ways when he starts to have anxiety, or does it even affect his anxiety level, that you do to calm him down and reassure him like everything's okay?
That's a good question. I love it. Oh, I do brushing.
What's brushing?
Brushing.
Ah!
Yeah, I do brushing.
How does it affect him when you do that? Do that make him feel secure and like him?
He
What?
it get him a it's I got it here. It's a small little brush. I got from the therapist,
Mhm.
and she said once he feel like he's finna actually stimulate. I
Mhm.
brush up and down. And this is example how I do it, up and down, up and down. It give it that cold, that brittle feeling, and it stimulates and it stimulates his body, and actually it relaxes him a lot.
What?
And sometimes, yeah, and then another method I use I snug him.
Oh, okay.
I
I
like
like.
he like to be snug, real tight.
Okay, I heard of that one. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't hear about the brushing one though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay, okay. That's new, girl. I'm enjoying my interview because I'm learning too.
Yes.
Okay, so my thing is, when it comes to family, how can, this is coming from Jackson out of Orlando, Florida, and he wants to know, how can family members or friends support better to help understand autistic relatives?
Um. Just to understand it, I just say just ask questions.
Okay.
Support it.
Okay.
And just accept it.
Okay.
It takes a lot of acceptance.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what is one thing that we can do as a whole, not just family and friends, but society as well? I'm gonna say the unknown society that
Mhm.
don't know about this and they're not aware of things like this, or even aware that this can happen to anybody, not just,
I
you
just
know, yeah. So what are some things that we can do better to support and, be more resourceful for needs like this?
basically just treat normally.
Inclusiveness,
Hmm.
because people, okay, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, because that's one of the things that a parent as yourself that fears. They fear the exclusiveness of their children being in the social world.
Hmm.
And even I fear that for my children, like
Right,
regardless, that's just
right,
a normal fear of any parent. But
right,
when you have things like this going on and that's unexpectedly just happened, and God gives you this, this bigger task than He's given anybody else, inclusiveness is one of your concerns and your biggest fears, because you want your children to always be included, no matter how different they may
right.
be, no matter what's going on. You want them to be included, even if they may not feel included.
Be
So
brave, be attempt.
inclusiveness is a big one. I can
Be
definitely
and
agree with that.
absolutely have to be, and the motto is be brave in the attempt.
Okay. Okay.
Let me do it even when I cannot do it. That's
That.
that's the motto of it. Actually, we have experienced that he wasn't included in not anything once before.
How was it handled? How did that?
Who I
Oh,
didn't.
the good version, not the. I would say the good version. How did you humble yourself to handle it properly?
Um. Well, I said like I always say, I said all the time, my voice. I shook the room when I walked in with my voice.
Mm, okay.
They said we're not gonna do it again. And when they saw, and normally they didn't, they know they always see me all the time. But when that particular day they saw dad,
Oh,
they knew, because they knew dad, they knew dad always at work. But that particular day they saw dad.
oh, now, okay. As a support system, do you think that this would, if you would have not been married or had a great father with him, like most of us, well, most of them don't have good fathers in their children's lives. Do you think that this could be a task or even an unexpected situation from God that they can handle alone as a single parent?
Um, well, I think, some single parents are strong.
Okay.
I think they can, but for me, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do it without my husband.
Mm.
I couldn't
And,
do it because we are equally yoked. So
right.
so when God did this, so when God did it, it was meant for us to do it together.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And he's a good dad. He's a good father. Protective. He's protective. He's very, very motivated. And
Oh,
everything that he did with his family, he went harder for us. He went harder for us, and he said no matter what, he say, I'm we gonna get through this. I'm gonna make sure our son get the best treatment, get to the best school that we have to. This is what God designed me for as a dad. That's what we talked about. And actually, he have a book here from it's from Johnny and Friends, and it's called Another Kind of Courage.
oh, let me see.
And
Oh, I like that.
it's
Okay.
for it's for special needs dads. And
Mm-hmm.
it says God designed for fathers family affected by disability. And it said you are not alone. And we also have a inspirational book as being married to get through it, and it's called Beyond Beyond Our Suffering.
Yes. Ain't nothing like inspiration, baby.
Yeah.
Especially
So
them.
this is the cure. I tell anyone this is the cure.
Yes.
This is the
Every
cure.
day.
God's
That's the only
word, God's
manual we got.
word, God's word. That's the cure. That's the
Right.
cure
That's the
for it
only
right
manual
there.
we got.
All
Oh,
thing we got. That this book here got us through. Got us
okay.
through the sleepless nights. Got us through traveling because we traveled for 5 years.
Really? Back and forth.
Back and forth, back and forth. Twice a year. We still doing now. We still do it now.
Okay. Okay. So that concludes our interview and our awareness
Yes.
perspectives for this show. But to top it off, I've been doing a little research, Mrs. Moody, and I see that you are a blogger for this also.
Damn.
So with, I know writing for me is my release. You know, that's how I'm able to say things that I can't verbally express. But when I get to write it, it brings more descriptive words. It brings just a lot to put out there for me. And it opens my mind. It clears my mind when I'm done. But for you, how does being a blogger and being a writer of your own blog for autism awareness, how does that help you in this process?
It helps me express myself. Actually, you inspired me. you, you inspired me, and also my family, my in-laws, and most importantly, my husband. He's my number one supporter. He told me, he said, just write it out. He said, just write it out. So I have I'm doing a magazine.
Oh, okay.
So,
I'm on the cover, right?
yeah, of course, of course, of course. And my website, I will be posting blogs on there. My YouTube channel, just Autism with Us, Lord, adjusting with autism. And my Facebook page, Autism Live with Us.
So, with bringing this awareness and the writing awareness, and you're speaking out now, you finding your voice, you finding the courage to show your face. Because I know with writing and being a writer, it's like behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start to do videos, it's like, hey, I can no longer hide. I'm out here. I'm naked. Like, Lord, you got me. Like,
God, he doing this, like he said, this is my purpose. He wouldn't, I couldn't rest until I actually do it.
Okay.
Because I heard a voice was saying, speak. I want you to speak. And I'm thinking, somebody said something to me. I said, oh, God, is you talking what? And I got, and some just said, and it's the voice. I was to myself, I was praying, and I heard some said, speak. And I ignored it the first time. The second, now a week after the second time it happened, and then I saw it in my dream that I was traveling the world.
That's what I'm talking about.
I said, okay, God, what are you trying to tell me? And then I remember asking you, I say, how do I come up with a website?
Oh Lord.
And you led me through it. And I love you and I thank you for that. Because you inspire me to speak out to not only you but our families and friends, to let know that, I want our story to be heard, because our story could help, could help everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm doing this. I'm this a purpose. God knows it's a purpose for this. It's a reason. And I haven't stopped writing yet. I keep going. I keep going now. And actually, in the month of May, my book will be published in May.
What? We have a book. Wait, we got a website to reach Mrs. Moody. We have a blog to reach Mrs. Moody. We have social media, Facebook, to reach Mrs. Moody. And also subscribe and follow her. But now we have a book. Say what? Well, don't give us the.
I'm not gonna give you the details. All I know is that it's gonna be phenomenal. It's gonna be phenomenal. And also the magazine as well. The magazine will have a lot of children content in it with Derek handwriting. Absolutely, it's handwriting.
Really?
Now
see, I've seen a lot of children's book, with the whole black hair movement and being proud of their black hair and their black skin. And, even with certain other disorders that they may have and faced and going through, they write books to tell their story, but also to bring awareness to it for the readers or the ones that have not probably even heard about it, probably never cared about it, but to actually have the child involved in the process of it,
Mhm.
it's more like a 30% child and 70%, adults
Mhm.
work the whole thing out. But to have a child involved in actually writing,
Mhm.
girl, it's his. You might as well give him 60, you get 40. That's his, baby.
Mhm.
He is starting a legacy already.
He is. He is.
I
He
think
is.
that's amazing because I've never seen that before. I've seen the ones
Mhm.
that are the inspiration for the books themselves, in the movement and awareness. But I've never actually seen where the child actually participates in the process of it like that.
Mhm.
So I've seen them, having book signings and with the books and when it's
Mhm. Yeah.
finished project. But to actually work through it and get through it, and he's already aware of
He
who he
is.
are and what he's
Right.
capable of doing.
Mhm.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I can't even
It
lie.
is. It is. And I thank God for all the support. Actually, I'm in 3 support groups right now. I'm in the group Glass here in Greenwood, autismspeak.org, and I'm also with Joni and Friends.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, with that being said, how can the listeners or people that replay, well, you got 30 minutes to replay after this, and then it goes private until April 2nd. But,
Right.
um, and that's just for the finished project in the whole edited version. But how can we stay in connection with Mrs. Moody here? How can we stay in connection and keep up and follow and continue to
Um,
support you through this process?
on my group, I'll be doing Q&As every Tuesday, and I'll be going live every week. And I'll be sharing a lot of content on there. I'll be posting the educational, the meltdowns, basically the whole journey on
Okay.
it. Yeah. Hopefully the book signing to be coming soon as well. Soon as it's published.
Okay. And what are the social platforms you are located where we can subscribe, follow, or add
You
friends
can add me
on?
on Facebook. You can go to my website, wordpress.com. You can also follow me on YouTube.
Okay. We're going to put all the links in the comments.
Yes,
Please.
yes,
And so we can get everything out there. And
yes.
also, I have a final question and a congratulatory thank you for coming on a Fistful podcast and sharing your story and actually having the courage to finally share. And even abuse or even neglect, it's hard for even mental health. It's hard for us to share things because we feel the exclusion from things. We feel the judgmental people. We feel we don't know what you're talking about, so we're just going to laugh at it. Or we feel the harsh reality or opinions of what people may say or think. So to be able to come out and share your story, and
Mhm.
although we know it takes some time, but God says it's better late than never.
Mhm.
And just because you don't share while you're going through, it does not stop
It's
anything
hard.
about you sharing it when
Mhm.
you get through.
Mhm.
So, or when you know better. So
Mhm.
the more you know, the more you're able to share. And I just want to say thank you for coming on Fistful Podcast because this
Thank
is new.
you.
for me.
Yeah.
And this is new for everybody that tunes in with me because this is actually a crossover episode. I've never done an awareness. And you know what? I haven't even done my own awareness for domestic violence.
Wow. Wow.
So I want to say thank you for being the first
You're
awareness
welcome.
crossover
Thank you for
episode.
having me. Thank you for having me.
This is a new episode and crossover, and I want to say thank you for having the courage to join me and share your story.
Yeah, thank you.
And
Are welcome.
sister-in-law,
Woo!
big surprise at the end. It's my
Yes,
sister-in-law,
that's a surprise. That's a
and
surprise.
then the child that we are talking about. This my nephew, baby. So you tell my
Yes,
hey,
yes, yes. He's in his own little world right now. But I did wrote something before we end for my husband. I did wrote something for him because he's
okay,
been
go ahead.
phenomenal. I wrote something. It said that you are never alone. You are not like most men that discover that your child has a disability. And I know that it hit you with a ton of bricks, but you stood strong. Most likely there's no one else you could turn to, but we turn to one another. Though people are meant well, maybe very few, but just know I'm always here with you. Mm,
That's so sweet.
yeah.
So
We have
I
to, we have to
okay.
give the dads. We have to give the dads. I'm not gonna take all the credit. I'm not gonna take all the
Now, see, that's what I'm talking about because that's listen, and what I don't like these days, I'm just spiraling into another topic because of this whole speech right here. But sometimes the good fathers are unrecognized,
right, right.
and we never, well, they never give. Some women never gives them the proper credit that they're due.
Hmm.
And for it to be a woman as strong as us that actually give these men that are strong in our lives and actually take care of their responsibilities,
Hmm.
for us to do that, girl, we are humble. We
Right.
are some healed,
We have to.
humble,
We have to.
encouraging women
Mhm.
to be like that because you got women that have great fathers and they don't even recognize them at
Recognize.
all.
Right, right,
So
right.
I want to say thank you for that. And I know he appreciated it. And I know it
Mhm.
gets hard. But baby, with God, all things are possible.
All
There
things are
are
possible.
nothing y'all cannot not do without him. And
Hmm.
long as he's the center of your marriage
Hmm.
and your family, it's all up from here.
Yes,
Ain't
yes.
no down. It's
No, it's
all
it's all it's up. It's up. It's up
right.
and it's up.
It's just but I
Yeah,
do want to say thank you again.
you
And
are
I'm
welcome.
go
Thank you
ahead
for
and
having
close
me.
the segment out. And I'm gonna let them know, give them a quick bounce out, baby. But you are good to go. And I want to say I will get in touch with you soon rather than later. And we
Yes.
got this. We're gonna hang
Yes,
in here.
we got
We
this.
got
We got this. We got this.
this is a team thing. We are in this together.
Together. Yes. Yes.
All right, baby.
All
Well, you
righty.
good night, and thank you for coming in
Thank
on me.
you. Thank you.
All right, y'all. So I want to say thank y'all for tuning in with me here at a Fistful Podcast. And I want to say thank you for your support and your listenership. And I also want to say thank you again to my guests, my sister in law, and my nephew for sharing their story. Because there are people out there that is not aware of things like this. And whether we know it or not, we need each other. And for my nephew to be the first awareness crossover show on my show, And I haven't even done my own awareness for domestic violence. Y'all, I am amazed. I have had a wonderful night. And this has been a blissful show, a blessing in disguise, because I've learned something. And I hope that who's ever tuning in, or if you go back and replay, I hope that you learn something too. And most importantly, I want y'all to know that it does not matter how strong you may think you are, how you may see yourself. At the end of the day, it's about how God sees you and what He sees in you. Because sometimes these tasks come along like this and they're unexpected, whether it's health related, whether it's family related, whether it's friends related. And guess what? We throw in the towel because we don't like being different. We fear being different. But when God chooses you, He chooses you. And there ain't nothing that's not going to stop Him from choosing you and taking care of you while He chooses you and you in the midst. The only thing can stop you from this and your blessing of Him choosing you is you. And that's only because you have chosen not to accept you. But when you choose to accept you how God has chosen to accept you and what He has done for you, greatness, just pure greatness. And it's okay to be different. Listen, I am glad there was an Adam and an Eve. I am glad that there was an Abraham and an Abram. I am glad there was a Noah that built the ark and didn't even know why he was building the ark. It is okay to be different. And it is okay to go through things that people don't understand, because guess what? You don't understand, but guess what? God has given it to you for a reason. And when He gives you something, whether you understand or not, or whether you feel like it's too much, go through with it. Trust Him to help you trust your process. So I want to say thank you again for tuning in. And y'all, I'm going to get on out of here because I don't like the way this light is beaming into these glasses. And I'm about ready to take them off. But y'all do have a good night. Y'all stay blessed. Y'all stay encouraged. And tune into a Fistful podcast every day. Well, Mondays and Friday nights. Not every day. Mondays and Friday nights. And this is the closing episode of season 7. And I am happy, I am honored to have closed out with a crossover awareness show about my family and bringing awareness from them to you. So stay tuned for the season finale. And it's a wrap until season 8. Stay blessed and encouraged.